back to another episode of Her Story. I'm calling this my Pastor Wives edition. I have with me Lady J and Lady Bree.
Hey.
I am so excited. Listen, y'all, they're friends.
Yeah.
They're friends. They're in town for the E.K. Bailey preaching conference. And I said, you know what? I got all these great pastors' wives who are in town, and why not sit down and talk with them? And I'm super, super excited. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Thank you for having us. We about to have fun.
I know. Listen, we going to lunch after this with having like some beverages. So, all right, y'all. Tell me just a little bit, like, how did y'all become friends?
Oh, through our husbands.
Through our husbands. Our husbands are in a PhD program
Yep.
And so that's how we met. And
I think originally what's crazy is Janelle came the weekend that I crossed Delta.
Yes.
Listen,
And her husband
AKA and Delta Love.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and her husband was preaching at Fellowship that weekend. It was Palm Sunday, 2022.
Yes.
And I think that was my first time really connecting with Janelle. With all that was going on, she was just a breath of fresh air. And look, we've been cool ever since.
We've been rocking ever since. Ever since.
I love that. So, Lady Bree, you are married to Pastor Reginald Sharpe.
Yeah.
And y'all pastor fellowship the ship.
Yes, the ship. Fellowship Chicago.
All right, so tell me a little bit about your background and how you and Pastor Sharpe met.
Okay, so I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Okay.
And I was raised in my dad was a pastor. My mom was the minister of music of our church. So I grew up in church all my life. Music family, I went off to school at Johnson C. Smith University and majored in sacred music. So I love music. And after I graduated, I met my husband in 2010 at my second home church. So my father passed away in 2006. And so my mom and my brother, we transitioned to another church called Beulah Baptist Church in Decatur, Georgia. And that's where I met Sharpe. I call him Sharpe sometimes.
Sharpe. I was like, okay, what's his nickname? It feels weird to be like Pastor Sharpe.
I know, I don't do. Now, in front of the members, I'll say pastor for sure, out of respect, but I call him Sharpe sometimes. And we met the fourth Sunday of May, 2010. His grandmother was a member of Beulah, and so he happened to be visiting his grandmother that Sunday. And I saw him, I recognized him from a YouTube video where he gave his pastor a musical tribute. So I'm like, oh, I know him. Not even off of preaching, just him singing. And I just walked up to him and started talking to him. Like, it was nothing like that. He had this fro. He was going into his sophomore year of Morehouse.
Okay.
I'm like, and I just graduated. I was like, oh no, you young.
But
we became friends, and then eventually we started dating, and the rest is history.
oh, okay, that's super sweet. Met at church. Mine was at a club, but okay.
Come on.
Well, it was at a Kappa party, but yes,
That
that's
works.
Really?
That works.
It works. Listen, I
I'm
was
here
talking to
for
a
it.
Kappa, but the Alpha one.
You ended up with the Alpha.
On home with the Alpha. All right. Okay, so Lady J, tell me about y'all. Tell me about how y'all met.
We met at church again.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I'm so unholy. I am a bad influence on y'all. Okay, go on now.
No, my mother was a member of his father's church, and so I knew him, growing up all throughout the years. I'm older than him, and so I guess he always had a crush on me. And so he always had a crush on me. He was away at school. He was at school in Augusta, Georgia. Then he was at Morehouse Theological Seminary, and so he had been gone for like 8 years from Indianapolis. And so when he returned, he had mustered up this courage. I'm gonna ask Janelle out, and I was like, I look at you like a little brother. And so what happened was God ordained it. The church ended up picking some young adults to be together to plan this conference, and him and I were teamed up together, and we did all the programming, all that stuff, and I was like, oh, I think I like him. And so it had been a year, and thankfully he asked me out again. And when he asked me out again, I was like, yes. And I've been saying yes ever since.
Come on,
so,
say
so
yes.
that's how that all worked out.
Okay, so how long have y'all been married?
We will be 6 years in September.
Okay.
And it's been 9 years for me.
Wow. y'all. Oh, I'm like,
What about you? How
Okay.
long? You got to tell us a story. You
like
said the club.
26 years, y'all.
Ah, that's
We celebrate
amazing.
26 years,
That's
which
a
like
blessing.
I feel like for our generation is like 100 years we've been together.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's amazing.
It's
So
a blessing.
listen, I'm thankful.
Yeah.
It's hard out here in these
Yes,
is, for
yes.
real.
No, it really is.
For real.
It is.
So yeah, we met at a Kappa party. I went to OU, University of Oklahoma. We went to Oklahoma State,
Okay.
and so we always have this conference at PWIs called at that time it was the Big 8 conference, where all the black students come together on student government, and then there's always some type of worship service where everybody gets saved, and then you go to the party and you get unsaved again.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Everybody cries out like, "Yes, Lord!" And then you go into the party afterwards.
I'm
Get
going.
your little twerk.
So met him at that party, and yeah, we've been together ever since.
I
And
love
so, listen, y'all. One thing y'all knew. So y'all knew when y'all met him, when you met your significant others, that they were pastors.
But they weren't pastors yet.
Okay.
So, but they were, ministers. My husband, for example, he had just came home from getting his MDiv. So he was just now like really about to be on staff and all of that stuff. So yes, I knew he was a minister.
Yeah, I was about to say, girl.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
knew. Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, I knew too, but that kind of was a low key turn off, and I think because of my mama, she like stay away from the preachers. But then when she met Reggie, she fell in love with him. She's like, oh no, he different.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He really is.
Yeah, that is so funny that when our families meet, our sweet little husbands, our sweet boyfriends or fiancés at the time, they were like, they're so sweet and this, that. I remember they pulled me aside and they were like, now listen, you're a little rough, so you be nice to him. You be nice to him.
That's a nice guy.
Like, Stephanie, he's really, really nice.
Yes.
I was like, I am nice. They're like, be nice.
Listen.
I mean, so hard sometimes. Okay, so how would you describe your role as a pastor's wife at your church now?
Oh, child. You know what? I really would look at it as just me serving, doing what I've been called to do. I literally would just serve wherever I need to be, mainly in the music and worship area, because that's my passion. And then women's ministry, because I really do have a heart for women. And I want to see us thrive and, cherish our value and know our worth. So those two ministries, like I'm locked in. And then wherever else, I need to serve. It's about serving. Right. I don't need special attention, although I understand why the church gives us special attention because of our roles. But I don't need that. Now
Now there are some benefits. The best benefit of being a pastor's wife is your parking spot.
You know what?
I do
That's true.
Yes.
That is true.
And honey, one Sunday somebody was in mine.
What?
They figured it out real. I just stayed right there. I just stayed.
So you sat in the car.
I just stayed. I was not going to move.
Janelle.
I waited for them to figure that out. I didn't need to.
Wait.
I need to pull.
How long did you have to wait?
Oh, not long. I mean, they saw me pull up and they were running out. Security was running out.
They felt bad.
Yeah, they felt bad. I don't know if they didn't think I was coming and just needed an extra space. Go ahead and pull in there. So I just sat and I just waited. So it was okay. I didn't have to help.
See, they felt bad.
Oh,
Some
yeah,
folks
they
don't be
came
feeling
running.
bad.
And security moved it. Not even like the owner of the car. Like, so they knew. So I don't know how they had the keys. I don't know, but they worked it out. So
They knew.
So I just said and waited. Yeah. I just waited.
All right, that's good. Listen, okay, so how would you describe yours, lady?
You know what? We are, because we are new into our assignment at the church, I would say I'm really helping with the new members. New members coming in, membership. I would say like that membership experience. People are joining the church. Okay, but then what? How do they get connected? How do they get plugged into ministries and just meeting other people? So right now, that's really my focus on that connection piece. I really kind of head up this thing called the Connect team. And so really having this process from that. And then really kind of helping with, when you say that membership experience, okay, we come to church on Sunday. Okay, are we going to fellowship? Is there anything else that we can do? And so really kind of helping, I feel like my husband comes up with these grandiose ideas and it's like, okay, here you go. And so I got you, And so really I would say that membership experience, either new members or the current members, and just really what that experience is for them. Is it some type of event, or is it some type of fellowship opportunity?
Listening to both of you talk about just your role and how you see your role, I just see how you guys are both keyed in on just what your spiritual gifts are and what your talents are. And I think that's so key. I think that was one of the mistakes I made as a new first lady. I would be like, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. Or I think this is what they want me to do. And then kind of like when I settled, I mean, I was an elementary education major, so I felt comfortable serving in the nursery and serving in children's ministry and so on. I remember kind of freak them out, but I kind of liked working in nursery because I could wear jeans and a t-shirt. But it would freak them out, like the first lady's bringing you your kid, and I'm like, hey, can you make sure you have some diapers? But I think that's like such a key thing when I hear you both, and I think that also makes your role clear and defined and helps you stay in your lane.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
Okay, so y'all, we talk about our spiritual gifts, but what are some of your challenges? What are your biggest challenges you faced as a pastor's wife?
I can go first.
Please.
I would say my husband was elected pastor of my home church, where I was born and raised. And I was there. I was born into the church. My mother was a member there for 18 years before she joined the church she's at now, his father's church. And so literally the deacon that baptized me is still there.
Wow.
And so 90% of the people that I grew up with that knew me from a little girl, they're still there. And so I'm still little Janelle to them, right?
Not Lady J, but
are
you little Lady J?
I'm little, like, right? And so really having to come in and people, and sometimes in those black churches, everybody is related, but they're not related. So they used to you call somebody auntie so-and-so, and so really having to take those type of titles off. You're sister so-and-so, and really having to define and put boundaries in place that maybe they didn't have to be, or they were more loose. And so I think that has been a challenge for me that first year, was really trying to define myself as a grown woman, as the pastor's wife, as a mother. I wasn't all of those things growing up. And so really defining myself as a grown woman and really what gifts I can bring and just who I am as a person. So I would definitely say that was, that's been a major challenge for me.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say that when we first moved to Chicago, I think wrestling with my identity, it was such a major transition for us coming from Atlanta. Then we're
cold.
Right.
Real cold.
And then we're inheriting this, historic church. So, just trying to follow or, be in the footsteps of our pastor emeritus, Charles Jenkins, and First Lady Tara Jenkins. It was like, oh, this is overwhelming. Like, where do I fit in? So I think it's important that you really have to know who you are. And if you have to wrestle with your identity, do that. So I did that a lot, especially when the pandemic hit.
Oh my gosh, I think we all were wrestling with who we were. Like, who we thought we were like, oh, this pandemic hit, and now we don't know who we are.
Listen,
but go on, girl.
So like I wrestled because I wanted to, dress a certain way. I wanted to have my nose ring, but I didn't want nobody to look at me crazy. And so I had to like kind of have a conversation with Reggie, with my husband, and then really just sit with what I truly desire and really understand that even though you are first lady, that role does not define you. I was Brianna Sullivan Sharpe before I became a first lady. And that's what I'm gonna continue to be. Like I just refuse to let the role or let people put pressure on me on, you're supposed to act this way, you're supposed to dress this way. You need to make sure you speak to everybody, but y'all don't be speaking to everybody. You're not gonna put the same stipulations on me that
right there. You don't speak to everybody either. Okay, all right.
Like, what is happening right now? Like, I don't like that. So, be consistent. If you're not going to speak to everybody, don't speak. But don't put that on me. But no, those are just some of the things that I had to wrestle with.
I so identify with that. When we transitioned, we were taking over. We were just the second pastor. So Dr. E.K. Bailey and Sheila Bailey just legends. And I remember the best advice she gave me. She said, at my installation, at the installation.
It was yours too.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I was pregnant. I was tired.
Oh,
it was yours too.
I remember she told me, she kind of addressed everybody, and she said, it's Stephanie, let Stephanie be Stephanie. She's not going to be me in so many words. And even though she said that, I still felt like, no, a first lady's supposed to speak. Y'all, I had the shiny suits. I have pictures. I think we're going to include these. But yeah, the shiny suits, all that. I looked like I was, like 95. And what really did it was one of the youth who's now grown and has children saw me after a service and said, I think I saw those same shoes on Shirley Caesar.
Are you serious?
And I said, the change is going to come.
Now.
Oh, now. Come on.
Now is the time.
Now. So, yes, I completely identify it. When you have to you got to know yourself. Yeah. Got to know yourself. Got to know yourself. I love that you said you talked to your husband. And I'm sure you talked to your husband, too. Like, what do you kind of want my role to look like? And I remember Brian was real sweet. He was like, Stephanie, just... don't join anything. Go look at all the different ministries and just kind of see where you kind of feel like you'll fit in, and then make your choice. Don't make a rash decision.
Yeah.
I think for me, my husband has been very supportive of me.
Come on.
Yeah. And I think him understanding, like, Janelle, him affirming my giftings, but you're gifted in this, you're gifted in that, and making sure that I knew it, and him knowing, I think making sure that he knew that, that I felt supported by him. And so he just wanted to make sure I felt supported, that I had the freedom to work and serve where I wanted to serve, where I felt like I could help in a situation. He really just encouraged me in that area. And so I think me feeling his support helped to fuel me to really serve in ministry. And I think even helped my desire to do more in ministry because of his support.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's very important in partnership, period. I think as our roles as first ladies, they always say, you got to support your man and, push them, make sure you affirm him and all of that. But we need the same thing too.
Correct.
And so for us to have husbands that really do support us genuinely, and it's like no competition because that's not everybody's testimony.
No.
Like, I'm just grateful that we have that support system in our husbands. And they're like, yo, go do you. Like, they get, it's like, they become, it's like a thing for them. Like, that's my boo.
I think they're just as excited. Exactly. Yes.
Like, my girl out there killing it. So,
Yeah, that is so true. Because I'll be like, I was thinking about this. And he's like, okay, that's great. You should do that. And I'm like, well, no, I was thinking this person could do this. Like, no. So, yes. I am thankful for that because there are a lot of people who don't have that. All right. So tell us a little bit about your family life and what that looks like in relation to ministry.
Well, my husband and I, we are a blended family. So my oldest, when Jay and I got married, he was 9 years old. He is now 15. And then Jay and I then had two more. We have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And then I also work outside of the home.
Okay.
And so it is busy. And so it is very busy, but then also helping in ministry. And so Jay and I had the opportunity to teach earlier this year, and we were talking about partnering up on purpose. And one of the things, like supporting your person in ministry, is that I had to clearly define what my role was.
Okay.
And so if I have this wife role, I've got this mother role, and then I'm also helping as a ministry mate with you, I had to help define the role. We had to create some expectations, clear boundaries on things. So like, I can't just be, it's dinner time and I'm now talking about church. That's not what that looks like. So I literally will make an appointment with his administrator, put it on his calendar. I'll go up to the church and meet with him, or we'll set something up, but really clearly defining roles because I have to wear so many different hats. And so with 3 children, all boys, all of them are at school, and all my kids go to schools that have to be dropped off, and everybody got to be picked up and all of that stuff, right? So really, I'm still learning. But I think that one of the things that has been very pivotal for us is that we have to be very intentional. Like, we have to communicate like logistics. And I mean, it's a serious thing in marriage. Like, even kids or no kids, like, what's the schedule look like? Right. And so it is, because I do work a full-time job as well as all these other roles. So I have to manage it, and so it works.
You are, listen, I have so much respect for you right now because that's a lot of hats.
It is.
Full-time job, and then ministry, and mom, and wife. And I have a rule that church events do not count. Like this, like even though y'all are here in Dallas, y'all are
Yes.
not from Dallas. This does not count as our vacation.
Right. Oh
This
my
is
God.
this is just.
We went out
No,
of
because
town.
that's the thing.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I grew up, my dad was a pastor. The National Baptist Convention was the family vacation. At some point, this got to stop, y'all. Like, come on.
no.
There needs to be a little bit more intentionality here. It cannot be the convention.
No, I need a Mexico trip. We close
Yes.
to Mexico after this. I see y'all's husband was like, y'all taking to Mexico after this? Because it's literally a 2-hour flight.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Lady Bree, with I know Pastor Sharpe, he travels a lot, just the travel schedule.
Yeah.
So how do y'all balance? How do y'all balance just the ministry and just your marriage? Because my rule is this don't count.
Yeah.
So what are we doing after this?
So you know what? We really try to be intentional in making sure we do something fun when we're both in town or at home, because like you said, ministry is full time, and so there are times when he's traveling in revival and I'm at home, but then it'll flip and I'll be traveling for ministry, and he's like, okay, now what's going on? What are we supposed to do? So whenever we are in town, we really try to make sure we have fun. A couple of weeks ago, we went to Navy Pier in Chicago, did a boat ride. We sat outside. The weather was amazing. We ate lunch. We went to go see Bad Boys. What is that?
4, yes.
I mean, we literally made a whole day. He had to work that morning, but I was like, hey, I want to take you to lunch. And then we just sporadically, kept it going. And it was so much fun. And it was just us. Because sometimes it's not always just us. You want to include other people.
Yep.
But when I say we had a blast, and so we try to be very intentional and hold each other accountable. And making sure we spend time with each other.
That's good.
That's really good. One thing we had to learn, whether we had kids or we didn't have kids, we had to have like a meeting. So Sunday was after he took his preaching nap.
Yep.
We would have a meeting about just what our schedule looks like for the week, and just making sure, like, if it was kids, who's picking up who, whether it was a date night, are we going to have a date night this week? Are you traveling this week? Who's picking up who? What church events we would have, because we had horrible communication in the beginning when he was first pastoring, and he would be like, we got to go to something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I would really get stressed out about what I was going to have to wear, because and I'm like, I don't have anything. I already wore that black suit. You have your stuff on the rotation.
Yeah, for real. For real.
I didn't get my hair done.
Right.
Brian. So we had to have like a schedule. So one thing that's helped us is we would have his ministry assistant. She's a blessing. She's been with us since Caitlin is 22. We met her, we interviewed her when I was pregnant with Caitlin.
Oh,
so she's been with us for 23 years. She's the best. Tracy plays no games, so she
holds it down. She
holds it down. She holds the
together.
schedule down, but that's kind of what keeps us all together. All right, let me see as we're walking through. Y'all have anything you want to ask me? Because I remember you said, let me ask you something.
I know, throwing some questions. Come on,
yeah.
Janelle, tap in.
What does your community look like of other first ladies?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
do you have a community? And what does that look like for you?
Okay, so
Particularly first ladies.
Okay, well,
Because I already know you got a pocket with your sorority sisters or friends, but when it comes to understanding this space and understanding what this role looks like, do you have that?
I have a community, but the one thing about this community is I might not talk to you every day. I might not see you every day. You might live in another city, but when we do get together, we're together.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like where you pick up where you left off, because in this life, it's so crazy. And if you're going to be that friend who's like demanding, like, hey man, you ain't called, you ain't done this, look, y'all both like, I can't do that. And so, so there's a conference I go to called Leading and Loving It. And so a lot of my community is at that conference.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like our catch up. And so they white, black, and Hispanic, and and we kind of catch up there. And then there's different pastors' wives in the city that I will connect with, or we'll go to lunch. One of my favorite, and she's no longer here, is First Lady Lois Evans.
Oh,
and we would go to lunch or something like that. And the best thing about her was when we would get together, we would not talk ministry. We would just talk. She's like, I just want to know about family and friends and so on. And the hilarious thing about it, this is why I love my husband. When I first became a pastor's wife, it was lonely. It was very lonely. Nobody explains that to you because not everybody understands. It's kind of like a secret sorority. Because I learned the hard way, you can't tell everybody everything.
Correct.
And I remember after she passed, my husband told me, he said, I reached out to First Lady Lois and asked her to be your friend.
Wow.
And he said, when she talked to him, she was like, what did you do? And he was like, I haven't done nothing. And she was like, well, why are you calling? She's like, I just need you to be my wife's friend.
That's all.
But that's real.
But that's real. So when I am able to catch up, like I had to go to a funeral last week, and so just to catch up with First Lady Jakes, we were sitting next to each other, we were cutting up and stuff. Those precious times. Oh, she's hilarious cut up. Listen, all you got to hear from First Lady Jakes is that precious lamb, and it is hilarious. It takes you down. She's like, oh yes, this is not going to end well.
I love her. I don't even know her, but I love her from afar.
Yeah, she is the best. She's the best. So so just those little moments, just taking advantage and so on. Like even like this week, taking advantage of, hey, some great women are going to be in town. Take some time to connect, go to lunch, have a drink. Yeah, we do drink. And and just connect and build that friendship and so on.
I think it's been good. I think Bree was very a pioneer for us. It's a small group, and we don't all live in the same city. Two of you all live in the same city, but we all are in different places. And so I think that's been good. I don't necessarily have it locally though. Yeah. And when you said the part about it can be lonely, because it's like everybody doesn't understand maybe what may come about, or what you may wrestle with, or what could have happened today, and so I think that this has been good though for me, at least having somebody that at least understands it and can, just understand, like you said, that secret society, I think it's real.
It is real, and you just can't do this life alone. You can't do your marriage alone. You can't do ministry alone. And then, one thing my husband and I did, we prayed for a couple. We prayed for a ministry couple, just that we could just come into our lives and kick it with. And so God has sent us a couple of couples like that, and that is a blessing and so on, because we'll travel together. And then you'll have like different groups. Because when my kids were young, when our oldest was young and she was in pre-K, we became friends with a group of different families. And it's real chill. So we go on vacation together with them. Now we stopped taking our kids for a minute because we were like,
y'all wearing us out.
That is not a vacation. That is a family
not
trip.
A vacation. We took those ungrateful suckers to DC, and this is when Obama was still in, like, the president, because we did a tour of the White House and just all this stuff, just trying to expose our sweet children, and they were like,
I'm tired.
I'm tired. And I remember we went to breakfast, and this is like right after our tour. I said, listen, y'all. We do a lot. Our kids do probably in a year what some kids don't do their entire lives. No more kids on trips.
That's it.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah, I'm serious. I do not call those family vacations. Those are family trips. You are literally still taking care of your children in another state. So no.
I think community is just important. Period. And like you saying, like me and Janelle, we are in a group, but I was very intentional in who to bring together, because everybody just don't click, right?
That is right.
And then there's a lot of comparison, and just conflict or whatever. So I'm just grateful that at the top of the year we went to Phoenix. Because we wanted to do like something just to set our year or whatever. And so we actually ended up in Scottsdale, Arizona, in the mountains, and it was beautiful.
It's quiet.
It was like a retreat for us.
Yes.
Good for y'all. I love y'all.
Like,
I
for
love
real.
that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's great.
So it
That's
was.
great.
It's been good. And actually, through that trip, I found a new hobby that I
Yes. Are you hiking?
I'm not hiking.
Oh, okay. I was about to say
Now
it's hot.
I am totally into fiction romance books.
Yes.
And I am, when I say I was never like, just like a huge, like just read, I'm just reading. I am now on my 8th book.
I cannot
from
believe
that trip. From that
You
trip.
and Taylor. Because
Yes.
it was 3 of us that went.
Okay.
Her and Taylor locked in because I was reading an audio book at the time when we went on the trip. And now I done kind of like pulled back.
And
Y'all
I'm
locked,
all
they locked in.
I'm
See,
all
Bree,
in.
you've exposed.
And I brought a book on this trip. I'm reading in the airport, and so literally just that trip, and then now I found a whole new hobby, and I am all the way in.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said some key things. You were intentional about who you invited because not everybody can come.
Yeah.
And so on. And they'd be all right.
Yes, they will.
And then, I'm real conscious of people who like post everything. I'm
There
like,
you
Oh
go.
my
There
God.
you go.
Always got the phone out.
Yes.
Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's always a red flag.
Yeah.
That's always,
It is.
it's always a red flag. And I just think that in our position, you are going to have, encounters where you will meet people. And then there are some that, you have to have these safe boundaries.
Yes.
And, you can be friendly with all, but maybe not friends with.
So last question, y'all. What advice would you give to a new pastor's wife who's just starting out?
I would say that make sure you, kind of going back to the identity piece, embrace the process of evolving and really getting to know who you are, and be yourself.
Yeah.
Like don't try to put on this front that you're like this, because if you do, you got to keep it going for however long y'all are serving at church. And so I would say be your authentic self.
That's good.
Get you some. Okay, here we go. Get you some good friends, like community, but also get you some goon squad.
I have a goon squad.
Yes.
They're undercover. You would never know 'em.
No, it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because see, we can't walk up to the folks and cuss them out. But we got a goon squad that will be ready to do it for us.
I love
know
it.
it sounds
I
crazy,
love the goons.
but I'm
My
for
squad
real.
is called the Syndicate.
Yeah. I love it.
Y'all know who you are.
No, like, right. Come on, shout out. Shout out to the group.
Oh my
Pow,
God.
pow. Okay, I'm
Like,
sorry.
it sounds funny, but for real,
People
like,
have your back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's important too.
Yeah. And I love them because they're my safe space.
Yes.
They're truly my safe space, and they will say, no, or yeah.
I want to ask you this question. Do you
Yes.
have friends that belong to your church?
That's good.
Okay, so here's the thing with friends in church. I used to be like, everybody can be my friend. And yes, it's okay. No. You got to have friends in categories.
Okay.
So I have friends in church, but one, I'm not going to talk church with you. 2, and that's a rule kind of like at our house. Concord's not at 1742.
Yeah.
Got to have a boundary there. Only thing I ask is give me a precursor if something is about to happen at the good Concord Church, so I know at least something's about to go down, so I'm not caught by surprise. But yes, you just have to be very strategic. I had a friend, she told me, she said, you have a gift of everybody feels like you're their best friend.
Yes.
But you still haven't given them all.
Yeah.
And so I had to work at that. Because before I'd just be an open book. And I'd be like, yeah, girl, so then this happened. Yeah. Look, you're like, no.
And they eating it up.
And they eating it up. And they'll use it against you.
absolutely not.
So now I've learned to just be like, hey, girl.
My advice would be, a wise woman once told me, when I talked to her about when I newly went in, she said, love the people.
Yes.
It was you.
Oh,
And yeah, she said, and I remember when you talked to me, and I was thinking like, oh, she's gonna give me something really in depth, and oh, let me get I'm gonna text this, let me have it, and I'm ready, right? He was like, just love on the people. I think that's it, that's all she got, right? And Miss Sheila Bailey had told you that, and you told me that in year 1. That was just kind of right here. At the top of year 2, because my year 1 was just a little bit more challenging for me, I really did struggle my first year. And this year, at the top of the year, I changed my mindset. I can't worry about so much about the people and maybe how they treat or how they say things. I can only work on me.
Yes.
And so really at the top of this year, I took your advice and truly I have just loved on the people, and I've had a totally different experience just on literally. So at the time, it didn't seem like it was enough.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being just enough where really I would encourage them to love on the people.
Yeah.
And then from a marriage standpoint, make sure you have boundaries with your husband, and then be intentional. Be considerate. I feel like consideration sometimes can look like permission in a marriage, where you look like I'm asking permission. Can I go out of town? No, it's being considerate of that. You know, considerate what what does he have on his plate? What does the home look like? If you intentionality, consideration. And then you got to have some endurance if you're gonna do this thing.
You better
know
give
what I
the 3
mean?
points.
Those are my That's really that's really my thing.
Because I love what you just said. Be yourself, love on the people. But I think when people see it and feel it, they see that light that's beaming outside of you. Absolutely.
I think that my life story, I think that I can better connect to someone being my authentic self and knowing like what I've already conquered. I feel like people can get more out of my testimony than me trying to be something I'm not.
Exactly.
And trying to be this perfect person. My life wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
I told you we blended. I came in, you know what I mean? I came to the marriage with the child. So I'm not perfect. But even seeing like my life, I think that has been more of a betterment of a testimony than me trying to be I was this perfect angel, right?
Yeah, they'll know. Listen, I cuss all of it. Yeah, it's all of it. Somebody will be like, if somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Oh man, you look tired." I am.
Yes. You're going to get all of this.
You're going to get all of this.
Yeah.
But they appreciate it. Or like, "Oh, how are you feeling?" Like, "Oh, Lady Carter, how are you feeling today?" I was like, "Man, I'm tired today."
Yeah.
It was a hard week.
Yeah.
I remember one time it was like Easter, and I think it was church anniversary, and I did look rough. I ain't gonna lie, I did look rough. But I had come from a cheer camp. It was just a lot. And I kept feeling like, do you know what I endured through? Like, did you forget it was church anniversary today? I was like, no, I didn't. I said, but my kid had a cheer camp, and I just came in town. And it's a blessing I'm here. Yeah. Praise Jesus.
Well, and I think that might be some of the things that sometimes the church, they may forget that this is not our only.
Come on.
This is not our only role. And you don't know what I had to do to get here, to show up, to be my husband's wife, the pastor's wife. You don't know all that I had to do to get here. Yeah. So, they think that's our only role. It's one of the roles that God has blessed us with. Yeah.
First of all, I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all so much.
We're so grateful.
Listen, I feel so blessed just to know y'all both and just watch y'all go on this journey. And I mean, because it is a journey, but it's, you know what, we've teased and joked and so on, but we recognize just what a blessing it is just to serve. And I think that's one thing that you realize, and you also communicate like to your children, to your family, to your loved ones, like, hey, it's a blessing for us to serve.
Absolutely.
And this is what it looks like as we walk through this process. So again, ladies, thank y'all so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Listen, how can they follow y'all?
You go first.
You want me to go?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm on Instagram, Brianna Sullivan Sharpe. And I'm on Facebook, but more so Instagram.
Instagram is
that's where the Lord was at.
That's where I lie. Right there. Instagram underscore Janelle Ray underscore at the end. So underscore Janelle Ray underscore.
All right. Thank y'all again. Listen, we'll catch y'all next time on our next episode. Y'all take care.
I don't got it all.